Yeah, we were swimming some laps.
Ooh.
All right, Doug, start on me. Okay. Oh, before we hold on, we gotta all crack our beers. This is what we do.
That's nice.
Delicious. Well, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Dead Sailor Podcast. I have a very special guest today. Well, actually, I have two guests. A returning guest for the third or fourth time. I can't remember.
I'm not a guest anymore. I'm just your
You
sidekick
might
at
recognize
this
that
point.
voice. Our special guest today is none other than Groundkeeper Custom owner, Keely Shannon.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Keely.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Well, or the podcast, I guess. Show? It's a show.
We're everything.
A
at this
showcast.
point.
The show.
Yeah.
You're a guest that I wanted to have on for quite some time
Wow.
because I admire what you're doing. I admire your drive and your ingenuity. And I think you'll have a lot of. We can talk business. I think it'll be
Thank
fun
you.
to talk about
Big
business.
Biz Keely.
And back at you.
thank you.
I have the same admiration for you and your business. So
Yeah,
it's always fun to talk business with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is fun.
Do you guys
Yeah.
want to give me some compliments now?
Oh yeah, we forgot to introduce our. Well, you heard her voice, so we're just gonna reintroduce her real quick. We have none other co-host Blake Hansen.
Coming in at 185 pounds. Welterweight champion. Am I
Blake,
a co-host
thanks.
at this point? Are we allowed to call me that? Should I keep coming? You
I
keep
mean,
inviting me occasionally.
yeah. Well, really, what it comes down to is me, not me trying to do stuff ahead of time, which I'm bad about planning stuff.
He is.
Typically call you last second. In the last episode with Anthony, I was like, I really want Blake to come on, but I just need to just get this done. And so I just filmed it, but I apologize.
I was offended. I wasn't.
But yeah, Blake, thanks for coming back on
Here
again.
I am again.
Keely,
I'm
thanks for
glad
Keely.
that Blake's here.
Yeah.
I
I'm
know.
very excited.
Yeah. And oh,
I'm
happy
excited that it's you.
Happy International Women's Day.
Thank
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm wearing my
you.
hang
He is
time
wearing a
Oh,
hang
yeah.
time shirt.
women's jump jam in honor. That was not planned, by the way.
Nice.
No? Look at you.
It was an
You're just
accident.
a real supporter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to first, before we talk business, because business talk is fun. I really want to know your backstory. Where are you from? How I know that you're not originally from Bellingham.
Nope.
Where did
Few
you grow
of us
up?
are.
Yeah.
I am from the Midwest. I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa.
Dang.
So not many people that you meet are probably from Des Moines, Iowa, but I'm one of them. And yeah, made my way out to California after college, and then made my way to Bellingham a few years after that. So, but grew up in Iowa. So
Nice. Is your family originally from there?
yeah, born and raised.
Yeah. The whole family.
Pretty
Parents
much.
as well. Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was Iowa straight to California.
Yeah. I got an internship senior year of college and was like, all right, I'm gonna just pack everything. Just
was
putting all my
California-
eggs in this basket.
Was California somewhere you imagined yourself living one day, or that you really wanted to be?
I would say just West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't like, I have to live in California.
Yeah.
It was more just like West Coast in general.
Yeah.
And I had done a little road trip all along the West Coast the previous year, like my junior year, and all through Washington, Oregon, California. And I pretty much knew this is where I needed to be.
Yeah.
It was time to get out.
Yeah.
So when you did get the internship, you were just like, let's go.
Oh, man. And I got the internship like at the beginning of my senior year of college. So I had to go like months and months of like knowing that I have this internship lined up and I'm ready to go. Like bags are packed. So that was kind of a struggle.
Well, before we get jumping too far ahead, I want to know more about
further back. Got it.
Yeah, I want to know more about life in Iowa. When did you discover biking. Was that something you were interested in when you lived in Iowa, or was that something you discovered after you moved away? What was your life like growing up in Iowa?
Yeah. I mean, biking is a bit of a family affair. But I was a pretty hardcore gymnast back in my
now
childhood.
we're into the meat and potatoes. This is the kind of stuff I want to know about.
Yeah, I was really, really into it. And I did that until I was about 12. And then in gymnastics, you kind of get to a point where they're like, all right, you ready to quit school? And you're like 12. And I'm like, no, I'd like to be a crossing guard at my school. So I was like, all right, I'm tapping out.
Yeah. So what was your skill? Like, there's a lot of variations of gymnastics. Yeah, gymnastics. Sorry.
Good job.
I did bumble through that to get that one out.
So good.
What were you specializing in, or what did you spend most of the time
Yeah,
in?
I mean, it's like the 4 events are bars, beam, floor, and vault. And so you kind of do all of them, and you compete on all of the events for an all-around score, and you compete for each event. So I did all of them. I preferred the bars and the floor. Those are kind of my jam.
Floor all the way.
Yeah, the floor because it's like a dance party, and that was
With flips.
kind of my thing.
And
So
running.
with flips and running, yeah. And very pointed toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I kind of just got to a point where I was like, this is too much. I was spending like 4 hours a day every day in the gym, like after school, and just not into it.
So you
anymore.
got burnt out.
I got burnt out and just like I wanted to have friends and like go to birthday parties and, do the things that normal 12-year-old kids do.
Yeah. So what drove you to even try gymnastics? Was that something that your family was like, you have to do it?
Just get in here and get your zoomies out. And But then
Nice.
it turned in. I started when I was like 3, and then it turned into a lot more after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I just kind of was, all right, exit time.
Yeah.
And my dad rides bikes, and he's a roadie, and so then I naturally became a roadie at the age of 12.
Really?
Because I needed a new sport
Yeah.
to put my energy
So you were
into.
a high energy child.
I would say, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't not do something, and I didn't play any school sports because I was in the gym all the time. So there was all the ball sports are very foreign to me. So it's a little late to pick those up. So I jumped onto a bike, and I mean, I had been riding bikes, obviously. I'm a kid, with a dad who rides bikes. So I've been riding bikes my whole childhood, but then I actually got my first road bike, started riding road bikes, then started racing road bikes, and kind of got really deep into road racing.
Nice.
And then also picked up a mountain bike pretty quickly too. And there's no mountains in Iowa, unfortunately, but
there's
some big hills.
Yeah.
Trails,
So is
Cross
there
country business.
Yeah, a lot of cross country business.
Yeah. Was that something that so you said your dad rode road bikes. Did he also ride mountain bikes as well?
Once.
One time. And then how did you decide, I want to get a mountain bike or
I was around people who rode mountain bikes. So people that I was riding road bikes with were also riding mountain bikes. Like, come over to the dark side, So, of course, I went and I loved mountain biking. It was obviously, I had a lot more fun. Just more naturally, I had a better time on a mountain bike. But I also really enjoyed the racing aspect of the road bike and being in a pack and sprinting, and I really loved it. And I did that for a long time, all through high school and college. And then, eventually discovered real mountain biking.
Yeah.
When
you moved to
to
the West Coast.
California.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got a full suspension bike.
I've got
Okay,
lots
so-
of questions about this, but I need to back us up for one sec.
Okay.
Scale of 1 to 10. What's your interest level in going to open gym with me? I've been trying to get.
Wait, there's a gymnastics gym in town here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there?
Yeah, North Coast Gymnastics. I actually have been, before I absolutely blew up my knee, I was definitely ready to go to an open gym. I was looking for anybody to come to an
When
open
did you blow
gym
your
with me.
knee?
Like
we'll
5
get into
years
that.
ago.
Stop.
Sorry,
We're
sorry,
not-
sorry.
we're not-
I'm just really excited. Can we go to
pace
open gym,
ourselves.
please?
Sure. Sure.
It's
Yeah.
been so long.
Wait, did you do gymnastics?
I did, but I stopped at like 11.
What?
Yeah, 8
See,
to 11.
This is something
Damn.
that I didn't know about you.
Yeah.
I'm very
What level were you?
multifaceted, very low, not very high up. My mom started me because I started like with bikes and was doing wakeboarding and snowboarding bikes and all that stuff. So she's like, you'd probably be good at like flipping around and stuff. So I
Yeah.
got in there and I was too into the other stuff at that point. So
Yeah.
by the time I got okay, I was like, cool, I'm out. So,
Yeah.
but I still love open gym.
Okay.
And I taught tumbling in high school.
No way.
Yeah, for
Fun.
a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Anyway.
know anything about any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
It's
we'll have
fun.
to put together.
It is
We'll have
fun.
to get some of your old gymnastics footage and
Yes.
your old gymnastics footage
know if
and
there
mix
is
it
any.
into like a really sick gymnastics edit.
with metal.
It will feel way less sick than it did back then. I actually just like a couple years ago, I put all this old family footage on to, like I digitalized it for my family as a gift. And I was like, I was such a good gymnast. Like, you know, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I was just like crushing it. And then I go back and look at these videos and I'm like, oh my God, I was not as cool as I thought I was.
See,
I'll be
I
the judge
don't-
of that. See you at open gym next week.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I don't even know how to even comprehend what is considered good or bad in gymnastics. You know, like when I watch the Olympics, I'm like staring at
Wow.
the screen like, wow, they're all incredible unless they fall. Then you're like, oh,
Still
they
incredible.
fell. So
I feel like that's how people feel a lot about like the high levels of all sports,
yeah.
right?
It's kind
So
of
you got to really ultimately mess up big time in order for anyone who isn't paying attention to really understand like, oh, that's not good. I can tell that that's bad.
Yeah.
They're laying on the
Yeah,
ground now.
you landed on your back. That's not good.
Okay, sorry for taking us back. I just had to get that out.
Yes, I'm
I
going
just
to
need
open
go
gym with you.
Jump around.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so you're also a very skilled graphic designer. When did you start dabbling in that? Was that in high school?
No. I went to a very podunk high school with like no resources whatsoever. So did not discover like a computer until college, basically.
Yeah.
And then, in college, I was actually doing a journalism degree and was really into writing and just, like media. But then I also kind of discovered like the design part too. And so the school I went to had a graphic journalism degree. So it's basically like a magazine degree. So I did the graphic journalism degree, which is just a split design journalism degree.
So are
that's where I
you're
started.
mostly like working in InDesign or something to like lay out?
Yeah, it's a lot
publications and
of
stuff like
page layout. And so you basically get like half the classes of a design degree and half of the journalism degree. Then I also got a full journalism degree too. But I had like half a graphic design degree. And then really after college started to very much gravitate more to the design side of things. Yeah, for
Nice.
sure.
So
Yeah.
did you go to college in Iowa as well?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. And then you graduated and then got an internship? Or
I did.
what was the internship that you
Yes, I finally had this question.
that brought you to the West Coast, to California?
It was an internship working at Specialized Bicycles. So I had a friend who worked there and kind of like had a little in, and he hooked me up with this really great internship that worked for the SBCU department, which is the department that teaches retailers about the bikes and how to sell them, basically. So I got into an internship working on the textbooks in that.
Nice.
It made sense for the degree I had. Like, it was perfect. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, perfect. So that was my job. It was a 6-month internship, and I just pretty much worked on the textbooks that the students or that the retailers were coming to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About how quickly after you got there was there a guy named Tony chasing you down?
Day one.
See, I love the parallels
I
of
know.
the podcast because we can kind of tap into that a little bit. But it is funny for the people who don't know. Keely and Tony Bowman, who are also Bauman. I don't know. I pronounced it.
Bowman, you had it
sometimes.
right the first
Yeah.
time.
they're married and they have a wonderful, beautiful baby. Well, not a baby anymore, right? It's like kind of
Toddler.
like a toddler.
Yeah.
Named Pepper.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tony's episode, you should check that one out. It's also really fascinating. And we're going to get to a little more to the parallels of your guys' skill sets because they're also conflicting, which I was trying to rile up a little bit out of Tony, which he said, there's a really good snippet that he said, wraps are for burritos. Which
And
is
I would say paint is dead.
we're not trying to
kidding,
wreck
Tony.
any homes,
I'm just
but
kidding. It's all the same pot.
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, you met Tony day
Yeah.
one when you went to Specialized.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
He
if
was
I remember correctly, he like moved his desk, as he said he moved his desk.
He
to
said
be
he
close
moved
to
his
you.
desk to be close to you. Is that true?
Yeah, I think he might have actually done that. Pretty sure he actually did do that. Yeah, we were like kitty corner to each other. So we would just like pop up and we could see each other. And,
What was the vibe? Were you guys like eyeing?
Oh, yeah. We were definitely
Were you already
heavy
feeling
flirting.
it? Heavy flirting before he moved his desk.
I think that was when he moved his desk.
What
so
kind of
that
flirting
could
are we
see each
talking?
other.
Like eye flirting or like sitting at the water
Like
cooler?
sharing Spotify playlists and
Already, were you guys
sli-
on like
and-
the text game?
and yeah, we were texting.
Did you guys
for
hang
sure.
out outside the office?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So by the time he moved his desk,
Yeah.
it was like duh.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, but we actually had to really keep it a secret for a long time.
Why?
Well, because I had one coworker who was like threatening me and saying like,
no.
if you like mess around with, coworkers, you're not going to get a real job here. You're just going to take this internship and go. And so I took that to heart because I literally packed up all my stuff and moved out to California with no intention of going back to Iowa. So I was like, all right, let's put this on pause. I need a job.
Yeah.
So we put it on pause, kind of secret.
Yeah.
You guys put it on secret.
We put it on secret.
You put it on private browsing.
Yeah, we put it on private browsing for a minute. And then it was like, there was no hiding this. So.
I mean, I'm sure it gave it an element of excitement.
It did.
Yeah.
It did, for sure.
Office heat.
Yeah.
But after my internship was up, then I was like, all right, I should get out of this department. And then we can be like open with our relationship. Because it's okay if you're dating like outside your department. That happens a lot. But usually it's not.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah,
actually.
it's actually like very, very, a lot of people date, but not usually in the same department.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could also advocate that it's a bad idea to do that because if things go south, which I'm glad they did not go south between the two of you, but if they do go south, then you have to see each other
You
every
could
day.
say they went north.
You're right. They did
Gosh,
go north.
Blake. So when you say move departments,
Yeah, I was gonna.
what does that
too.
mean?
So I went and moved to the global marketing department in Specialized, which was upstairs. And I worked there as a graphic designer for the global marketing team.
So you had an internship,
Yeah.
essentially doing a lot of the owner's manual things, kind of stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then was this after you finished your internship, they offered you a job in the marketing department?
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'd kind of been like working here and there with them and meeting, the people in that department. And so it was a pretty natural progression to global marketing,
Yeah.
especially for my skill set. So
Yeah. What does a global marketing position look like at Specialized? What did you do?
For me, I was a graphic designer. So for my particular role, I worked with copywriters, web designers, photographers, contractors, anybody who makes up a marketing team, and worked together with project managers and, worked on launches and different content for website, print, a little bit of everything. And it was kind of all encompassing across the whole brand. So we did everything from mountain bikes to kids bikes to gravel bikes and everything
All
in
the
between.
stuff,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a cool job.
And how long did you work there for?
I
From
think-
beginning an internship to when you eventually departed, which we can talk about that.
Well, then from the graphic design role, I worked in that department for a couple of years, I'd say. And then I went over to the product team, and I worked with the women's products as a marketing manager. So I stopped doing graphic design and went and managed the women's side.
That's a pretty
products.
big, job increase. That's sick.
Yeah, that's a massive.
Yeah, it was.
Position.
It was a good jump for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
So
Yeah.
what ultimately drove you to depart?
That jump to that side of the building.
It just got too
Just got
hard.
real. Yeah. What was that
Oh
like?
yeah. I mean, you're just like a young female in a very male dominated building, and just got a lot of opinions, and not a lot of respect occasionally for young female opinions. And that
Especially
was
in a
really hard.
managerial position, eh?
Oh yeah. That was super hard.
What year would that have been?
That would have been 2012.
Yeah, it's a minute
And
ago.
wait, no. Sorry, I made that up. That would have been 2015.
Okay,
No,
just a few years.
2015 or 2014. Yeah.
In the region of
Yeah.
then.
And so what drove me out was, I mean, I was already really struggling, and that just getting anybody to jump on any of my ideas. I mean, it was just, it was like pulling teeth to get them to even like put any focus on women's anything, and just even including the like visuals and marketing materials. It was really a challenge. And meanwhile, I'm working alongside all of these other guys who have the exact same position as me, same title, but I had women's products. They had like mountain bike, road bike, gravel bike. Meanwhile, I have the entire women's line.
Right.
We have the same job title, and someone in HR told me that I was making half of what they were making.
Oh, that's a
So
classic.
that was just a slap in the face.
That's wild. That's only like 5-7 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Blake, I don't want to burn any bridges for you.
I was about to ask Keely if she's trying to throw anyone under the bus right now. Throw some names out.
You
Let's
ride
get
for
some heat going.
special.
Yeah, I know. That just dawned on me. I'm like, whatever.
No, it's okay. I
No,
worked
it's
there.
okay. We could talk
Times
about
have
this
also
stuff.
changed, I must
personally
say,
don't
like-
care.
Yeah, I mean,
I
things
have
have
heard
changed,
that.
but
Yeah.
But that
people
was
have
what I was gonna
changed.
ask.
People move around.
changed, and they-
I worked there before I rode there too, so I get a lot of the behind the scenes. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
It's the same thing at any of the bike brands.
I mean, it seems like, and I it's hard for me to like really drum up what Specialized looked like in 2014, 2015, but it seems like in the past, even I don't know, 3 or 4 years, the brand has made a real effort to try to either diversify their marketing, have a more inclusive athlete group,
Yeah.
and so it seems like that there's a lot of changes.
Yeah. And things behind the scene that you don't see. Like there has been a big push toward like more equal pay and using like actual scales of like
Skills
pay and
and
it's
how
not
long
so
they're
just
there
like
for.
flippant of like
Right.
you get this and you get this and you might get this. It's more like based on stuff.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately I left. There's a term when you work at Specialized that some call getting quitted. And Tony tells me I got quitted, but I would say I left. But they basically were like, hey, we're basically getting rid of all the women-specific bikes. And so at the time, Specialized was one of the leaders in having geometry that was specific to women's. It was specific women's geometry, which is expensive to make because it's its own tooling.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, that's why most bike brands don't do it and other reasons. But they were basically like, okay, we're getting rid of this. We're going to shrink and pink. So we don't need a women's product team anymore. So they started kind of like dissolving our product team, and they called me in and were like, hey, so next Thursday, you're going to be an inside sales rep. And I was
What?
like,
They just gave you a
yeah,
completely
fuck you.
different thing.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I was just
like,
like,
it's also
that's
in
a
Salt
massive
Lake, was it-
demotion, right? Like,
well, it has,
I don't mean to
I don't
like
know that it's a
insult anyone
demotion,
from an inside
but
sales
it's
rep, but it's a
absolutely-
complete different
yeah.
line of work, and
Yeah.
that
It was
sounds
just like
crazy.
not what I want to do at all.
Were
I'm
those
a graphic
jobs
designer.
in Salt Lake at the time too?
No,
They weren't
there
calling for
wasn't. That wasn't quite like in the mix yet. I don't think.
Got it.
Like I don't think as many jobs were over there yet. It was more just like.
So they still had the sales team in Morgan Hill.
Yeah. The sales team is in Morgan Hill.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, I'm done here. Like
Yeah.
this is last straw.
Yeah.
pretty jaded at this point.
Right.
Not going to work here anymore.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you and Tony going solid, and he's like starting to be doing his own thing. So it made sense.
He wasn't quite yet. So he still worked at Specialized for quite like maybe a few months to a year or more after I left. But I started doing my own thing, doing
Sick.
graphic design, freelancing. It was just supposed to be temporary. I was just like, all right, I need some stuff, like some random jobs to get me by. And I had a good friend at WTV. I had a friend at Zero Motorcycles, and like all these people like, you're graphic design. Like I get you work. Like that's fine. We'll hold you over. And then I was like, oh, this is actually like paying me way more than Specialized did. So, and I'm my own boss, and I can work half the time, and like this is way better. So I actually just ended up like working as a freelancer for the next 3 years.
Oh, sick. So you guys stayed, you quit 3 years before you guys left.
No, so I worked.
So
Should I draw you a map?
Questions.
Okay, so I did that for, let's see, I left in April or May or something, and somewhere in the spring. And then in the fall of 2015. And then in the fall of 2015, we moved out here in October. So from May to October, I was working in the Bay Area doing freelance stuff.
Cool.
Meanwhile, poking Tony every day, like, get out.
Yeah.
You got this. Like, you're an artist. You can do this. Like, look, I'm doing it. Like, you can do it.
It's got to be some cool motivation.
Yeah.
Like
and
from
he's
in-house.
he's definitely more like, but this is a really good job and I like it, and and the people at Specialized are the coolest, and you build like the best relationships that you have forever. So it is hard to like leave that. But ultimately I convinced him that it was time to leave the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of on a search of where to move next, and we had a few places in mind, and Tony was like, man, this Bellingham spot's super cool. He went there for like a bike demo. He was like doing a bike demo with Specialized a couple years prior, and came up and rode like one trail on Galby, and
he was sold.
Yes. He rode like Evo or something, and that was it. And he was like, this is the best place ever.
Yeah.
So, and he literally only spent one day here and then
so
like
funny.
left. And so he was like, just trust me, just go up, like just take a weekend and go up there and just check it out. Let me know what you think. So I just like left on a Friday and like, okay, let's just drive around, see what this place is about. And I ended up just like signing a lease while I was up here, and was like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you
Tony,
said that
we're
in this
moving
spot.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know anybody here yet?
No.
No, not yet.
We actually randomly, our really good friends, Jeff and Ashley, Jeff works for Specialized, randomly were planning to move to Seattle at the exact same time. And they ended up like coming and staying with us for a week after we moved here. And they were like, actually, let's move to Bellingham.
Nice.
So they ended up moving here at the same time. So we had like great built-in friends right there.
Nice.
Sick.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So you guys moved up here.
How'd you find a lease so fast?
Yeah, that is true.
And who'd
Because
you find
you
it
are
with?
currently looking for a place to live. By the way,
the
anyone
key-
listening that lives
data.
in Bellingham has either a house for rent or really has needs for a really great roommate.
This is a really good plug. Keep going.
Blake is looking for a place to
Yes,
live.
I'll keep
We're
my
looking for a
ears
spot. Got a
peeled.
couple dogs. Got some
Yes.
bikes. We need some space.
Yeah.
Hit your
The
girl up.
key, so the key is on Craigslist, if that's even still a place to look
Oh
for
yeah, no,
places.
they're still
But,
on there. Or not.
This is how I found many great things on Craigslist, including the first house that we found, is just look for like the most basic listings without photos. And they're
no
just
one else
like
wants
one
them.
sentence. Yeah. So this listing was like, 2-bedroom house, fenced in backyard. I was like, sweet, cool. What's the address? I'll be there. It was on North Shore Drive. Had the most amazing
No
view
shit.
of the lake.
my
Like it was
God.
like picture window, like view of the lake. And it's just a sweet old couple who doesn't know how to use a phone.
Oh
Wow.
my god.
That is so awesome.
So that's the
Okay,
ticket.
that's
Yeah.
that's some good beta.
Yeah.
Everyone out there looking,
Yeah.
including myself.
You just made
Nice.
the competition a lot harder for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Our 500 viewers are definitely all in Bellingham. They probably already have houses though. So.
100%.
Probably good.
No, that's great. So you moved to Bellingham, and which is the greatest place on earth, as we all know.
Yeah, pretty much.
But or not. It's a
Yeah,
horrible
it actually
place.
sucks, but
How
Housing
long
sucks. Don't come.
How long after you moved here was it until you? Well, first of all, how did you come up with the idea for groundkeeper? I'm saying I got it. I got to get it right.
S's.
No, it's really funny. You know, what's really funny is I always say it wrong, and Lou is always like, "It's not groundskeeper. It's
Thank you, Lou. Thank you.
groundkeeper." I always say the S. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyways,
A lot of people do.
how
You're
did
not
you?
alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the concept of creating a custom fender company?
Yeah. Well, I was doing the graphic design stuff. I had a big client base at that point. I was just doing like retainer clients. It was pretty smooth sailing, making good money. But I'm my own boss at this point, which was pretty sweet. But I still didn't feel like, I felt like I was putting a lot of effort into all these other brands and like making these brands super cool and putting all this attention to them. But I kind of was feeling this need to do that to my own brand. So that was kind of always in the back of my head, like, okay, I need to do something for myself and like that I can own. So I eventually was like, okay, let's just do a side project. And I was trying to think of a way that we could put some art on a like super consumable, easy product in the bike industry and just bring like some art, not graphics, like just something fun, colorful, to an easy product. And fenders seemed pretty straightforward. It's just a small piece of plastic. How hard could that be? So I worked on finding some fender companies just out like anywhere who could produce what I was looking for. And I found some in the UK. But they were just like screen printing the designs, and it was like, you can only do like 3 colors, no fades. I'm like, this isn't really exactly what I want. I did a run, but I was like, nah. And the minimums were like 200.
Mm-hmm. You did a 200 item run?
Yeah.
What'd you do with them?
Tried to sell them.
Did they sell?
Eventually. I still see them out on the trail.
That's
it's
awesome.
kind of
That's
crazy.
amazing.
That's
I would
awesome.
love to have one of the first ever groundkeeper fenders. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So then,
Do you have any of those? Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Oh, maybe.
There's all kinds of background I want to know about.
I might. I'll dig some.
You should
dig
put
some
that
out.
on the wall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, frame it.
I have them in a bin somewhere, but yeah. So then I was like, okay, I got to figure out a way to do like production. This cannot be that hard. Like it's plastic and it's printing, like not that hard. So I was working with some manufacturers here in town, just like some print shops, and ended up spending a lot of time like just getting a bunch of materials and testing like various materials and printing techniques, because there's a lot of different options there, to see like what would stick to the fender, what would hold up, and eventually like found the key to making these fenders. And so I did the first small run. The very first run I did, made here locally in Bellingham, the sample plastic that they sent me was totally different plastic than the one that they ended up doing the whole run on, and they all cracked within like one ride. It was like 300 to 400 fenders or something that I had printed. And they all cracked, like every one of them.
And so I remember when you first started your company, and I remember you were getting the fenders cut down in Seattle, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you were having them also laminated somewhere else, or was it the same place?
Well, it was a lot of just like, do this here, do that there, do that there. And now it's like, so eventually what happened was I was like, okay, I could do this myself. It's not that hard of a production process. And I've kind of like figured it out working with these other companies. So eventually I brought the printing production in-house. Mm-hmm. And that's just opened up the product line to so many more products too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, being able to do that, because I also remember you started the customization. I just remember the process of getting the fenders cut, and then, or maybe you printed, you laid the laminate on top of the plastic, and then it got cut, right?
Yeah.
And I remember back then you were it seemed like a very complex amount of moving parts. You know, you're like, oh well, we still got room for this many more fenders. We could fill with, and now it seems like it's way more streamlined, where you just like your ability to do for a customer to send their own image, a picture of their dog if they want, or whatever they want on, and have,
That's
and
what
then
they
make
want.
one of them.
Mostly that's
time.
what they want.
Yeah.
60% of the time.
But just like make one.
So that was very important to me when starting this company. I was like, custom is key, and the whole 200 minimum thing, even 45 minimum, like I'm not into that. You should be able to do one thing, like one print. And I think that is just like so cool. And that was like my whole goal with this company. And that is my, like the heart and the core of the company as I like begin to grow it.
Yeah. And it's, I think it's super unique, and it allows you to very much differentiate yourself from, I mean, has anyone I don't even know of any other brands that is doing what you're doing, or if anyone's tried to copy it as of yet. I can imagine it would be coming.
But, there's a few out there, but
but it, just being able to sort of like dial that in, I think is what is super special about your brand for sure. And it's really cool also too that you've expanded it beyond just fenders, and you're doing the decals that go on bikes, because let's be honest, bikes are kind of boring looking. People are doing fun stuff with colors and stuff, but but being able to like do full custom stickers, because I think a lot of people would like a Made Rad by Tony custom painted bike, but it's far too expensive.
They're not our customer base.
And you definitely are like, customization for the average rider, which I think is super cool.
I think it's like a lot of a lot of people think custom is for like the pros or the people who are sponsored or whatever, but like that's what I think is cool about Groundkeeper, is that anybody can do it, and all the tools are right there. You don't need to be a designer. Like, it's super easy on our website. You don't need to know Illustrator or Photoshop. Like, it's very basic.
Yeah.
I actually want to talk about the website, because I think I'm trying to wrap my head around how you were able to create the system that allows you to do that. And I'm sure it's probably some secret sauce.
It's just an app. I'm just kidding.
but it's actually really unique, because you can... It essentially acts as like it creates vectors, and you can scale and move stuff around, and it's creating a vector image. Can you upload a JPEG and then is it create a vector of that? Like how are you able? What is happening there?
He wants the background and his mind is exploding.
I'll give you a little bit. So we don't actually print vector. We print. I know most people, if you're in the print world, would think like, oh, screen printing, you need a vector. But we're digitally printing, so we print PNGs. So like the file that gets exported is a PNG. So it's a pixel based image. So you can upload pixel-based images, and then it gets exported as a pixel-based image. And if it's low res, it gets printed low res. Watch for that. And then, the software is just like crazy cool and very custom. I work with a really, really talented web developer, and he's just amazing and crushes it.
Yeah, it's like you have like this web-based simplified version of Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah, it's like so cool.
I know sometimes when I'm making new fenders for our lineup, instead of using Illustrator, I literally go into our fender builder, because it's like easier.
Yeah, it's so
and it
awesome.
already just like masks everything, and it's like less buttons to click, and it's it's been like a very fine, like we've been fine tuning it for 4 years. I mean, we just finished a mobile version, which was a really big deal, because for a long time we had a big warning. It was like, don't use this on your phone. It's really ugly.
Yeah.
And now you can use it on your phone, which is super cool.
It's so cool.
And now we have like a lot of templates, and just expanding that builder pretty big.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I think I think that the whole just direction of your brand is it makes sense as to why Groundkeeper like grew so fast. I feel like you and I kind of started around the same time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And
this was when, by the way, give everyone a little.
2015?
I did 2017.
Oh yeah, so did I. I don't know why I said 2015.
2017.
I was 2018.
Yeah.
2018 was when we were cracking fenders.
Yeah, cracking fenders in 2018.
Yeah,
sure.
Tenet launched in 2018, June of 2018. So yeah, pretty much right around the same time.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, your brand has grown so fast, which congratulations, by the way, to
Thank
all
you.
the hard
Huge.
work.
Thank you.
And I really think that it's because of how like unique your product is, you know, like you were really, there are professional bike riders that are using your product because it's fucking
It's
awesome.
just better.
It's super cool, you know? I mean, how fun is it that you can literally, like, I might just go on there. We should just actually do it live right now, create a fender with Blake's face, and I'll just
How
ride it.
funny that.
You could do that. You could totally
Hide
do
it.
that. I'll print it tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, and so that's the other thing. So I remember when you bought your printer,
Yeah.
and it's this massive,
Yeah.
what's
Large
it?
format
Yeah,
digital
large format
printer.
digital-
Yeah.
And then, so you are now buying the plastic, and then applying it to, like, pre-applying it, and then do you send the plastic out to
Yeah,
get
we still
cut?
outsource the cutting just because they're so great. The people who do our laser cutting, and it's just very efficient, and it's just not too far from here, and it's just smooth.
Yeah.
And I really planned this year to bring in a laser cutter and start doing that in our new shop, but it's just been a weird year, so
Yeah.
we're waiting
Yeah.
until things start like turning.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because I mean, I'm also feeling the effects
you?
of the
Yeah.
bike industry slow down post boom.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Return
we
to
all are
normal.
from our different corners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious too.
You know, during the bike boom, we both probably, like, for me personally, for Tenet, we had our breakout year in 2020.
Yeah.
When we launched the Occult pedal.
Yeah.
Did you when was your breakout year for
2020.
Yeah.
It was the LaCroix fender for me.
You're one of
the
them.
LaCrud. It was
The
the
LaCroix.
LaCrud.
Yeah, it
For
was
legal
LaCroix. Sorry. Sorry. No one sue. No one
Be
sue.
getting me sued.
No, I was working in a bike shop in 2019,
cool.
and those came into our shop, and I was like, "This is
Really?
the most amazing thing
Aw.
I've ever seen." I sold it to everyone.
Really?
I was like, "Have you guys seen the LaCrud fenders?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, I'll have one of those. Here you go. Here you go."
Yeah.
It's the
Crack
best.
me open one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing. We both were doing a lot of direct to consumer, and you really shifted to doing like IBD, selling to shops.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've also, you actually told me, you're like, how many retailers are you in right now? And I'm like, I'm just like really trying to grow the brand on my own terms. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're like, no, you got to work with bike shops. And really it wasn't anything about bike shops. Mainly it was just, I was worried that a shop was going to not represent the brand as I had hoped or wanted, because there are a lot of really bad bike shops out there. There's a lot of really great ones too, but I didn't want some disgruntled mountain biker somewhere poorly selling my product, and I wanted to be more in control of that. But now I'm singing a different tune. I really value a lot of shops, but I've gotten very, very specific about like digging into the shop. What's their social look
What's
like?
their deal?
Oh, good.
What do their reviews look
That's
like?
cool. Because
like,
we're
you
just
gotta
like, oh, you're a bike shop? Sweet.
yeah.
Different
can
products
sell our
though.
stuff.
Different products for sure. Like
Yeah.
your product is unique and awesome, and his product is very like people are going to compare
Yes.
that to everything
Yes.
they're already running.
Your product will just sell because it's cool looking and it's awesome and it's an easy, and it's the only one on the floor, right? Mine is set among all these other really great brands like
That everyone
Chromag or
already
whoever.
knows
Yeah.
about.
And they're right next to them.
Yeah. And so I specifically need a shop that gives a shit about the brand to promote it and to push the brand. And some of my best shops that do the best with Tenet are like avid Tenet fans, like fanatic.
Yeah.
All the guys there and guys and girls there, they love
you.
Yes, thank you.
They love the brand so well, like so much, and they personally ride the product. They advocate for the product.
Yeah.
They're
They're the model shop.
they're great.
For sure.
But the so what at one point during the bike boom or in 2020, were you like, okay, I need to get into bike shops? And what was your approach? Like,
well, we had
growth?
set up like the B2B side earlier than COVID. Like that was important to me, and I could see the need for it. And there was just a big want for it. Like the bike shops were coming to us left and right. We weren't reaching out to bike shops, but they were coming to us. So of course we set up a good wholesale program, and that was kind of like already in place. And then once COVID hit, we were all kind of like, oh, what's going to go on? And then just everything skyrocketed, and we had a really good year in 2020, like amazing year. Mm-hmm. You know, I felt on top of the world.
I bet we all did.
It's like, hell yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah. Every time you bring a production and it's just gone, you're like, we need more. Buy.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, we were keeping like huge stock of items just so that they wouldn't go out of stock. And we just got in this habit of like print. Keep the printer running all the time. I don't want to see the printer not running. Mm-hmm. And then now we have a lot of stock. But 2020 was amazing. 2021, not as amazing, but just coming back down to like where it should be. Mm-hmm. And we lost a lot of, like our B2B sales are not where they were. And that's because a lot of bike shops are sitting on a lot of product.
Yeah, totally.
And they're just not able to buy right now. So.
I think, and that's what I'm personally noticing with my brand, is that it's not consumers that are, I feel like direct to consumer is not slowing.
No.
People, if anything,
it's
I would
growing.
say this year seems hot, like there's more direct to consumer, direct to shop sales than there are like to a dealer.
Yeah.
And it is exactly that reason that you just said. It's because they have a lot of inventory that they purchased, and now they're sitting on it, and they move through it before they're in a place. So I think the second half of the year will probably be a little better or normal, more normal. But, but as of right now, make sure you're supporting your rider-owned brands.
Yes, totally.
You know.
Yeah, and I mean it's like kind of a bummer, you know, when anytime you don't see year-over-year growth, you're like, oh, what? I suck. Or that's how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a new business owner, so I was like seeing really big year-over-year growth, and then it's hard to not see that, even though we're like where it should be. But you know, we still have those direct-to-consumer sales, and I'm like very, very, very thankful for that, because that's like a big deal right now, and like that's what's holding us together. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because
I mean, I remember when I first started working with you or knowing, like getting to know you, you were doing it all. I mean, I remember in your old house, you were in the basement. And that was old house. That was where you were working. Yeah. Tony was upstairs in the garage with a paint shop covered in like pallet boards, just like that.
Awesome.
And then you moved into your house that you guys live in now, where Tony's shop is. And then it was funny because you were going to share that space. And I think you just you grew so fast that you just took over the shop.
Yeah. We shared it for like a year and a half or so, but quickly got kicked out.
Yeah. And then you outgrew it. I would say that would probably be a better terminology,
right.
But
true.
You outgrew it.
You got quitted.
I got quitted. Way to bring that full circle.
Yeah. Thank you.
So now you have a new location in Iron Gate.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful new building, right? And you guys just have an awesome spot.
Yeah.
I went there. It smells like vinyl.
That's what everybody says. I'm like, I don't smell
it smells
anything.
Like stickers in here.
I'm probably dying if that means I like.
You might be. You might want to get checked out.
I should probably wear a mask.
So that new space, and then you've hired some employees and whatnot. So you've grown a lot. You're doing things that I probably should do, which is pass roles and responsibilities to other people. I have a hard time with that.
I do too, but it's definitely a necessity
if
you're aiming for growth and sanity.
Absolutely, which is where we should all be aiming.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's a really, really great new location, and it's just nice to not be like on top of each other and poor lighting and like you know having the printer in our old shop with just like dirty nasty floors and like bad ventilation and like paint fumes. And I'm like, this is not good. This is like an expensive piece of equipment to just have in this like dirty shop.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask earlier, how much does one of those things run?
Oh, I mean, it's like, wait, how much are they?
Yeah.
Oh, like the printer? Like 25,000. It's not terrible,
crazy.
but
Not terribly.
I mean,
It
compare
is.
it
If
to
you
like
can-
a CNC machine or something.
The
it's
laser
really-
cutter I really want to get is 100,000.
Crazy.
It's a big. It's like one of those big table ones with the
Yeah.
massive arm that goes by. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have to get the shop rewired and stuff, but
Wild.
worth it.
Yeah. Is that something you're still like thinking about bringing back? in-house?
Potentially. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun. Sometimes I act a little quickly, and
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
like, I need this, and I buy it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to be slower about the $100,000 purchase.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've bid on CNC machines
Yeah.
in auctions and then instantly regretted it, being like, "Uh-oh,
Yeah.
I have nowhere to put this. What do I do?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I'll figure it out." And then I'm like, "No, wait, oh God!"
Can
And then
you
I'll
send me
get out.
measurements?
Then I'll get outbid, and then I'll be like, "Oh,
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
That's so bad, Tyler.
oh, jeez."
Does your business partner know about this?
I mean, it's an ultimate goal that we have moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Premature. I should not
yeah,
be.
yeah. You gotta get a few things in line
Yeah,
first.
I should
but-
not be. I should not be doing what I'm doing. But
Doing?
some of the
Current tense is still happening.
no, I haven't been on anything in a while. But it's one of those things where I see a deal and I'm like, oh my God,
It's
there's
just the deal guy
there's-
in you.
Yeah.
I'm
I
never
have
gonna
that.
find another deal better than this. I have to buy this.
I have that gene too. It's, yeah.
Yeah. I think we probably all share that gene.
Yeah.
It's a bad gene.
Yeah.
I want to go back to graphic design just for a minute or for a little bit and talk about some of the in-house designs that you do, because you have the full customization aspect, but then you do have like a line of product. Can you talk about like where do you find inspiration to design some of those? Because you do most of the design work for those, or do you have people?
Yeah, it's
who,
a mix,
yeah.
but I mean, it's actually over half of our business is our inline products. Because to be honest, like a lot of people aren't that creative, and they're just like, "Cool, that's a nice design. I'm gonna buy that."
I feel like even as a creative person, I still really
Totally.
am into your designs. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm like,
Well, that's good
I
to
don't
hear. Thank you.
want other stuff. Like that's sick.
Yeah. And so that was really important to me, was like having really good inline designs, because I think, we were talking about like other people in the market, in the shared market. And I think like what kind of differentiates Groundkeeper is our like really nice inline designs, because there's a lot of fender companies out there that have just like god awful like flames and skulls and just like pinup girls and like just stuff that you're just like, okay, seeing that, I'm ready to see something else.
Right.
So that was really important to me. And but it was also really important to work with artists and do like collabs and artists, like featured artist collections for like limited series. And so it's important for me to always be like seeking the next artist and like the next big collab. And
What are some artists? I know some, but you can maybe share some of the artists you've worked with in the past.
Like we have had 2 collections with Brooklyn Bell, and that's like always just the most amazing, coolest collection, and people just absolutely dig it.
She's awesome.
Yeah, Gretchen, Leggett. Is it Leggett or Legit? Leggett.
Legit.
Legit.
She's a legit artist.
Yeah. And why am I blanking?
Spring Break Jake.
Oh my God, Spring
was a
Break's
sick
Jake
one.
is like so amazing.
Yeah, that kid's cool.
So good. Do you know him?
Mm-mm.
Man,
I just got to
so
know him
cool.
after I used one of his series on a bike and tagged him.
I mean, that was such a big hit too. It
he
came
was
out at a
nice.
good time. People were stoked. Tyler Johnson is another one. He's in the Midwest, and we have a collection that's kind of ending right now with him, but it's the Yeehaw collection, and it's
it's
just
also a good
totally
one.
different and cool and amazing. So good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now I'm just kind of like trying to think of other artists too. And
you're out there.
Yeah, if you're an artist and you want to have a custom collection, you should hit Keely up for sure.
totally. Please do.
Yeah. Now
But don't be offended.
Now you're gonna get like 3 or 4 people.
But don't be offended.
Maybe 5.
5. Wow, we're blowing up. We're going viral. No, that's awesome. I did a Fender. There's the other thing I want to kind of touch on is sort of working with brands, but when the first Fender I did, you just sold me blanks and I put my own stickers on them because I wanted just only.
I don't even remember that.
This is so long ago. This is in probably 2018 or something like that. And
you were a cheapskate.
I needed to do it as cheap as possible to make as much margin as I could so that I could grow the brand.
Yeah.
Which they sold okay, pretty decent. But since then, I've only done one other Fender for Hannah's Deep Purple
Those are so
launch.
cool.
And I still have a few. So if you're interested in checking those out, they're on the website now. But I worked with Tom Bunny, who is like a really cool artist he's like a very like death metal, style artist. That
is a really cool Fender.
Yeah. And he did the art for the shirt and the Fender and stuff. So, I mean, I think the like working with like actual artists doing limited runs is a really cool way to get people excited and to do stuff that's like, very limited and you feel special if you have them,
Totally. Yeah. Jill Kittner's was the other like really cool one because we did 2 colorways and people were just so stoked and Jill's got the coolest artwork. And
Yeah, she's so good.
Yeah.
Most people don't really know that
I know.
about her.
Yeah, she's so talented.
Like a talented artist.
She's so talented.
Her coloring books she does and stuff are so fun.
Coloring books, and then her movie that came out last year. That was all her
she
stuff.
Did all the
it's
art.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's got all these little like pins and socks and like all these really fun things to sell.
She gave me a pin last year. It's sitting on my dresser.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have Jill on this podcast. I think that'd be a really fun episode.
So yeah, please do.
Yeah. And then so back to kind of like coming up with the concepts for the Fenders that you are doing for inline.
Yeah.
Where are you drawing inspiration from to like make those happen?
A little bit of everywhere, man. It's just like comes from all corners. I do like to look around on a lot of websites like that are doing similar things, like sock websites or like Stance or Blackstrap, like the Buffs, like companies like that have a lot of cool designs out there and just kind of like get some inspiration. Hand Up Gloves, like those kind of companies that are always putting out really cool stuff. But then also just getting inspiration from like a weekend or like we have one Fender that is called Day Trip. And it's just kind of like, it reminds me of just like laying in the grass, like looking at the clouds and being like kind of whimsical on a summery day. And cool. I was just kind of making that with that like vision in mind and like that feeling from like this really great weekend on the river. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk about, I guess, we talked about where Groundkeeper has come and how it's grown. What is the next step for Groundkeeper in your eyes, or what are the next goals? Because I feel like you've nailed what you were saying. You're like, oh yeah, I want to do customization and make it one-off, like one of ones, you know? And you did it. So where do you want to take the brand next? Yeah,
I mean, that's got to be the core. Like to me, Groundkeeper Custom is like the core is one-off customs. So I want to keep growing the product line up there. And I've been so into the decals and like sticker side of things and like playing with new like printing techniques and medias and like fun like laminates and different sheens and chromes and stuff. So I think you'll see more of that coming out soon. But it's also really important to me over the next few months, the next year, to grow the custom decal lineup and get like as many license agreements with as many companies as we can. Because right now it's like Fox, RockShox are the main ones. But I mean, I want to see like every single bike brand on there. So like we just added Evil decals, but that's our only frame brand right now. So we're trying to get license agreements with like anybody. We're going to have Transition up in the next couple weeks.
You guys are doing a lot of cool stuff with them.
Yeah, rim decals.
Handlebar
decals.
Yeah, you guys reach out to me, which we're working on that right now.
Cool.
So that's in the works.
Sweet.
There's a new bar coming out. And the reason I'm not jumping into it right away is because there's a new bar coming out later in this, probably late spring, early summer, that'll have new decals.
Yeah.
And so
By the way, rider feedback, it's going well. I like the bar.
Nice. And so I want to provide both the old, like the V2 and then the V3 decals, so that you can have both of them up there. But I think that that was something that was in my mind a while back, was like, how can I think I reached out to you and was like, how can I get on the custom builder or whatever?
Yeah.
So that somebody can, that is a really cool concept for somebody to be able to go, I have an evil whatever, an evil conjuring or something like that. I don't know what they have all those names. An evil bike.
Is that an actual one though?
No,
Doug,
but
can you
it probably will be.
Yeah, they're gonna take that right now.
Evil bike. I've got We Are One. Rims,
custom
Tenet bars.
Yeah.
I've got all this fork, and you can
go
through, pick all your parts, and apply the same vibe to everything. Mm-hmm. That sounds so cool.
Yeah, totally. And that's like where it's going right now. And bikes have been getting more just like basic too. Like you're seeing a lot less graphics on bikes now because they're just, they know that that's what customers want, and they want like a blank slate to put whatever on.
Yeah.
So that's like really crucial to us, is to start building out those license agreements with all the brands.
Nice.
So hit us up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So working with brands though, like I know you've made fenders for us, and then you've also made fenders for Transition and some other bike brands. Are you the go-to person for custom fenders when it comes to like a custom, or for like Transition or anyone?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like two options for custom fenders. You can either get them screen printed, and they're going to be cheaper. They're going to be on flimsy plastic, and you're going to get a couple colors max. Or you can get like amazing full bleed images, like print whatever you want on this fender. It's going to be like super high quality plastic and last forever. And you're going to pay for it a little bit more than you would on the cheap plastic one. So I would like to think that we are the go-to for the big custom orders. And it's not just like bike companies. I mean, we have a ton of breweries that print fenders with us. Like anywhere a mountain biker goes, pretty much. Like people are catching on. So yeah.
And shops too, right? Like
yeah,
you do
shops,
a lot of bike shops will just do their custom. They do water bottles or whatever, but then they'll why not make a fender too?
Yeah,
right?
totally. And frame keepers too. Like our frame protection is pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys have used it, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, but
no, it's top notch.
It's really good frame protection.
I've had it on all of my bikes since you released it, and then I have a custom one that you did. It was the Galaxy, and remember when I did a bunch of Galaxy ones?
Yeah.
Which is a series I still would like to bring.
Whatever happened to that?
I think for me personally, and we can review this off camera, but I think for me personally, it was, I want to be able to show more of the actual bike color underneath. It was, so like printed on clear.
We had a conversation about this. We're both in agreement on that.
Oh yeah. I prefer the clear frame keepers. I actually like kind of can't stand some of them that are opaque on certain bike colors, and like personally, and everybody has his own.
That's the thing. It's everyone's personal preference.
Yeah,
I like
clear.
to put
we
my
both
designs
like our clears
on transparent.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think I still really like to move forward with it, and again we'll work on this
redesign.
But it's I can't remember at the time. I think it was an option, or maybe you were like, I don't really know how well it's going to print on the clear or something like that. So we just did it on standard white backing. I don't really remember.
Well, we'll revisit that.
But they look really cool. They're just, it's like a purplish galaxy, it's actually like like they're images from NASA.
That's right.
From the Hubble telescope or whatever. But they're it's so different from my bike frame color. It looks cool, but I want more of the bike color come through on it. So
we'll do that.
Yeah,
we'll figure that out
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the other like I know Transition, they just do like full clear with the TR logo on it. You know? Like that's an option also.
Yeah,
you know?
And we did a big one for Giant too. We did like a massive order for Giant with just clear frame keepers. They are custom sized to their bikes. And,
nice.
they don't even have Giant logos on them, and that have like all their they made like a lineup of like 5 different designs, and so that was really cool.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a big brand. That's one of the big 3.
And they're selling them on their main website. It's really cool.
Yeah. You know, well, I'm not going to tell you what you should do, but I think it'd be fun.
But if you were.
It would be fun to do. Why hasn't there been an art series with Tony?
There has been.
There has?
Yeah.
Oh. I guess I missed that one.
It was
do
at
an
the
art
very
series
beginning.
with Tony's face.
It was at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we should revisit another artist series with him. You're right. It's pretty much.
He does. He could do all kinds of really cool, like airbrush looking, like frame keepers.
One of his most
stuff.
recent clients that he did a tarmac for, I think it was a tarmac, was like blue and lavender. It was like super cool. You should do that.
Okay.
Do
Let me jot
that.
that down.
Do that, Tony.
No, like he did a
cool
run
one recently.
He did a run of fenders and frame keepers and stuff where he like painted a big panel, and then we took a good picture of it and then printed it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So on a personal level, how's things going? You have Pepper.
Yeah.
She's how old now?
She's 19 months.
19
we count in months right now.
Tony's there right now watching.
I wish that we
Yes.
all still counted in months.
Tony, is he got it down and you feel good about him being there
For
right now?
She's the one who leaves the house to go work. He's just a stay-at-home dad.
No, he wants to be,
Chilling.
but no, we're figuring out a pretty good balance. The first year was like kind of tricky, but then we found some childcare, and because we were kind of splitting our time, we couldn't find childcare for a really long time, and it was a really big struggle. But we're feeling finally like balanced again and good, and she's super fun and just amazing, and she's starting to ride a bike now, which is so fun.
That's awesome.
She got a little strider, and she's tall enough, and she scoots around the house and on the sidewalk, and got her on a kids ride shotgun this last weekend. So
nice. When is she going to be old or big enough to ride a pit bike in the backyard backtrack?
It depends on who you ask.
Tony's like, she's
this summer.
She's doing it right now.
She's ready.
You don't know that she's out there right now.
She's on the Tula pack, just like cruising. Yeah.
You guys have such a fun house with like the pit bike track in the back and the fire.
She's
pit
gonna
and
have a
stuff.
good time.
It can be
really
a
great
dangerous
spot.
place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just had a birthday, right? It was
Yeah.
your birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
Is
belated.
that what you're referring to?
She has some stiff margaritas at her house.
Yeah, I actually am known for making a stiff margarita, I guess.
That is my.
Stiff
We should have
ass.
But
done.
margaritas are stiff. So.
We should have
That is
done
kind of
stiff
stiff.
margaritas for this episode. We keep
Yes.
talking about how
I need a break from the stiff.
the bubbly is not a good combination for the podcast.
Oh,
You know,
you're
this
just like
isn't-
burping and
The beer wasn't as bad as the...
LaCroix or what?
What's that other thing we were drinking? It was like a cider. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, cider is very bubbly.
This is better. It's
Yeah.
like my time for a beer.
Well, you also learn to just turn your head, burp,
Gotten
and
pretty good at that.
burp off to the side. Yeah.
Anyway, cool guys. Thanks.
No, but anyways, yeah, it was. I think you guys' place is so awesome. I'm so envious of
Yeah.
it. I love the big shop, and
It is really a special place.
yeah,
Like,
I know
we
that
love
Tony,
it.
when
You guys scored.
Yeah,
when you
we did.
moved the brand out of there,
Yeah.
I know that he was very excited about
Yeah.
the abilities to work on the truck inside.
Yeah,
the shop.
totally.
You know?
Yeah, I was also really excited to have, because I still was under the impression that I'd still have half the shop.
To your
So I was
personal
really
needs.
excited to like make a cool like
Oh, yeah.
workout area or
Oh,
like
no.
kid gym or like something. Like we could have open gym at the
Man, we could have
shop.
had a sweet Olympic
But
trampoline in there.
Tony has taken that over my
Yeah.
half.
What's he done with it?
Full of
Tell us
motorcycles
that.
and bikes, and I guess they're mine too. But yeah, it's just like full again.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
how
room
it,
for
that's how,
playing.
that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Our garage is the same way. We'll do a big purge, get a lot of stuff out of there, and then within a month, it's back to like, where did all this stuff come from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came from you.
It's crazy.
Well,
You're a
yes
collector
and-
of random things. Do you still have a fucking
'cause
Ford transmission in your garage?
Yes, I do.
He likes a
Actually,
good
yes.
sale.
Yes, I do.
He's obsessed with a good deal.
Such a good deal.
Yeah.
This is
He's
such
got a
good
transfer case.
deal. Nope,
He's
I
got-
gave the transfer case away. I got wait,
Okay.
I think I got rid of the axle. Yes, somebody came and picked up the
Okay,
axle.
good job. You're doing good.
Yeah, but now we're
Nice.
doing a bathroom remodel, so our garage is filled
Oh,
with.
yeah, it's been
Yeah,
fun to
yeah.
follow Lou.
Yeah.
Don't do this. It's her constant theme of like home remodeling.
Yes. If you're poor, just don't do it yourself. Just have a shitty bathroom for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah. But okay, we should probably wrap it up here. Keely, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having
It
me.
was great to hear about where you came from and also how the brand came about and where it's going. That's awesome. But Blake, thanks for coming on too.
Yeah.
And,
Psyched that you were here, Keely.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
psyched that you were here.
This was
This is
fun
a good
mix.
surprise.
I know we're gonna get Blake on more frequently. I promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you guys are curious about Groundkeeper, if you haven't heard of it or you want to go check it out, you want to make a custom fender, where do they go?
Groundkeepercustom.com.
There you go. And follow them on Instagram.
No
They're always-
S's.
No S's. Don't.
There is an S. in the
There'll be a
custom.
link down. Don't worry.
That's
There's a
right.
link below.
For real, it's the best stuff. I mean, I've been running them since before I even knew Keely.
Yep.
I was selling them in the shop because I
Blake
thought it
says.
was the best. And, you know, after trying a bunch of the other frame protection brands, it's just the best.
Yeah.
So,
And if you want to see a Tenet collab or Tenet branded Groundkeeper frame keepers and fenders,
send a bunch of money
Let us
to
know.
Venmo, Blake-Hansen-2, and we'll get it going.
Yes.
yeah, so or if you
Or-
want, how about this? If you want Blake to design a
Yeah.
fender
I'm actually
for
not
you,
bad, guys. I'm not bad.
Okay.
I can put Louis on a fender for you.
Actually,
Venmo
Blake
Blake.
has made some very cool fenders over
Yeah.
the years.
yeah, Venmo Blake.
Yeah.
She'll design something for you and have it shipped to your house. It'll be a little surprise. You don't get to
Easy.
see until it's
Yeah,
done.
let's do it.
It'll be easy.
That would be a really fun thing to do.
Hit us up, guys.
Okay, well, thank you guys again. Tune in in the next 2 weeks. I don't ever know how to sign these things off.
Tune in next time for the next guest.
Yes, the next guest.
The next time.
All right, Doug, roll the metal.